What's going on, everybody? FJC here, back with another video. And now that the beta for Arena Breakout Infinite has been out for a little bit, coming out on May the 8th, since starting to play Arena Breakout Infinite throughout the closed beta, I have noticed a positive pattern in players. While streaming the game and making content for it, I've noticed a lot of people have said that this is their first extraction shooter game ever. For me personally, this is very exciting and good news for Arena Breakout Infinite, as they're bridging the gap, in my opinion, to players who have never played extraction shooters. And as somebody who has purchased EOD for Tarkov and dumped a ton of time into that game, the one major flaw that Tarkov has to a brand new player is that it almost requires you to dump a ton of time into the game before you have a full understanding of what you're doing. For a first-time player in Tarkov, you're really gonna have no clue what you're doing without a map on your second monitor or phone. And even when you have your map on a second screen in Tarkov, it's still very hard as a first-time player to understand the points of interest and where you are compared to them. Whereas Arena Breakout Infinite loads you into a raid, you can open up a map and also see your teammates' locations on the map, as well as any mission locations and points of interest. For a first-time player to extraction shooters or Arena Breakout Infinite itself, having an in-game map is a mechanic that obviously ruins the hyper-realism of the game, but Arena Breakout Infinite isn't necessarily going for the most hyper-realistic, and I think personally that's why I favor Arena Breakout Infinite over Escape from Tarkov. And in my opinion, so far, Arena Breakout Infinite has done a fantastic job of gathering players that are leaving Escape from Tarkov because of the most recent drama, and also people who have never played an extraction shooter game. And I would also add Gray Zone Warfare into this conversation, but in my opinion, Gray Zone Warfare is very different from Escape from Tarkov and Arena Breakout Infinite, where Gray Zone Warfare is extremely hyper-realistic and it focuses on PvE. Escape from Tarkov is hyper-realistic as well, but focuses more on the PvP side and questing. And Arena Breakout Infinite takes a lot of those hyper-realism aspects, dumbs them down a little bit for a lack of better words, while still maintaining that somewhat hyper-realistic feel without making it feel like there's a bunch of inertia on my character and he's a drunk baby, aka Escape from Tarkov. Because Arena Breakout Infinite is not as hyper-realistic as Tarkov, it forces the game to be a little more fast-paced, which in my opinion is not a bad thing. I do understand how that would turn some people away. However, the fast-paced nature of Arena Breakout forces some really cool and interesting fights to happen. I do like how it shares the same healing system as Tarkov, where every body part has its own individual number, and if it's gotten blacked out and you repair it, that number will be lower. But one huge mechanic in Arena Breakout is the downing feature. If you guys are playing solo, this feature won't really matter, as you're gonna get downed and nobody can revive you. But if you are playing with at least one other person, you can take enough HP to where you get downed but don't die, and this gives you a second chance of staying within the raid. Granted, your teammate gets to you in enough time, because you do run out of HP when you are downed fairly quickly. And I can understand why some people do not like this mechanic, but the second you get downed, if the enemy is still looking at you, 9 times out of 10 he's gonna shoot you one more time in the head or a couple of times in the body, and you're gonna die anyways. So really the only chance that you have of survival in that situation is if your teammate ends up killing him right after he downs you, or for some reason he decides to run away and reposition and your teammate can get to you and revive you. A mechanic like that definitely makes the game more inviting to brand new players, and compared to a game like Tarkov where you really have no second chance, and the second that you die you're back to the main menu creating a new loadout, it definitely creates a more inviting atmosphere to the game. And a common issue that I've heard within the gaming community about Escape from Tarkov is the amount of time that you spend in the main menu actually creating a loadout when you die. And Arena Breakout Infinite has done such a fantastic job of implementing quality of life functions to make the user experience while creating loadouts as easy and simple as possible, while getting you back into the game fairly quickly. The quick equip function in Arena Breakout Infinite is such a fantastic addition to a game like this. Using the quick equip button, you can select what ammo and magazines you need for your gun, as well as any heals and food. This makes the whole process of recreating a loadout or creating a new loadout much simpler and faster. And if you're not the best at organizing a stash, which we all know we have our moments where our stash looks pretty crazy, whatever items you already have in your stash or inventory, it'll automatically take those out first without you spending more money. And to make even more space in your hideout in Arena Breakout Infinite, as long as there's no items in a backpack, you can roll up the backpack to make it at max a 4 slot I've seen. And the organization button in this game I find works really well, and in Tarkov I found that the organization button was practically useless for for me. So for anyone who's interested in Arena Breakout Infinite, but is a little hesitant because of the type of game and genre that it is, I highly recommend Arena Breakout Infinite if you can get your hands on a beta key, as they are trying to cater to both the long-time extraction shooter player as well as the player who's never even stepped foot into an extraction shooter game. In the comment section down below, let me know whether you agree or disagree with me, and let me know if this is your first extraction shooter like game. Once again, I do think Arena Breakout Infinite is doing a fantastic job of bringing longtime players of the extraction shooter genre to their game, as well as making it a great entry game to the extraction shooter genre without completely dumbing it down and making it a run and gun fast-paced shooter, and still keeping that high risk, high reward factor when bringing in high tier loot or even running in without any loot and just a gun. Once again, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, as well as do me a favor and follow all my socials in the description. I got a ton of content over on my TikTok, as well as I live stream practically every day on my Twitch. So if you guys want some more content while you're not on my YouTube channel, you can check it out over there. And we are so close to 5,000 subscribers, so go ahead and hit that sub button if you haven't already. Thank you guys for listening to me, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out. Much love.